Hiya, it's Gaz here from Moth Creaturae with another video update on this helmet project that I'm doing at the moment. So, quick recap on the last video. You remember I got the 3 studs in, the 3 press studs. They're not fitted completely, like they're not permanently in there. I haven't sort of smashed the rivets down at the back yet because these need to come out again so I can paint. But I have left them in just so I can sort of show you how we're looking once we've finished that video. So that's where we're at now, right? Now the next thing I need to do on this, right? Clearly these vents will be coming off again before I paint. But the next thing I need to do with this is I need to work out where the press studs are going. Because if you remember, the visor will go on here, right? And it's going to follow this channel around. So I need to cut the visor, and that's what I'll be doing today. But I need to do that so then I can establish where these things are going to go, these other press studs. Now, when I was trying to work it out, the placement of it, like I mentioned in the last video, I can't put it inside here because that's simply too thick now. It's like sort of 10mm thick, how do they call it, fiberglass area. So I have to come beyond there to the carbon fiber, but that works in terms of my sort of design or what I think will look attractive. These studs are in a nice straight line, right? They follow the edge, the true edge of the helmet all the way around, the same sort of distance from the edge of the helmet. And the distance between each of them is the same, right? So if we take the distance of that, this is obviously just showing you for the video, take the distance of that and then kind of do that with it, right? And carry on the same line, right? It places the stud about there, just at the end of my finger is there now, right? And that kind of fits with that. It flows with the way that the edge goes down, and it kind of meets this edge where it comes up. So I'm quite happy. It will look like it's quite central to that. Now the leather, thinking about it the other day, we could go like from the edge of the visors, come quite wide where my fingers are, and then come down like a sort of bit like a Dorito, like a triangle, right? Or we could just do a single stud on the visor, like a press stud, and then a sort of 1 inch thick or 1 inch wide strip of leather, right, with a radius on each edge around the rivet. And that's kind of what I'm thinking about doing, because it gives that 1 inch wide by that will give her a nice area to here's some coasters I was making, put a little Moth Creaturae image on there, right? So that's kind of what, like, emboss it on the however you do it on the leather, but we'll figure that out when we get to it. But I think that's maybe what we'll go with, just a straight line going across. Right, so today's job, we're going to sellotape or secure the visor into place. I've got my 2 visors here. My daytime one, my nighttime one. It was a racing lid, you know, so you have these. Those eagle-eyed out there, you'll see that it's got the pins for your tear-off strips. I won't be hairing around no tracks with this. So that's why I started thinking about maybe just, instead of having the triangle of leather, just having the single strip of leather with 1 stud. Because where these pins are located, there's already a little screw hole. And if luck would have it, I think they look about 4mm. So what I might be able to do is use these to put my new stud through and rivet it on the back, right? So it may as well, rather than sort of cutting something else and risking damaging it. And I think it will look all right as well. Once we've made the visor with this one, like the new visor shape, we'll use this as a template for the black one. Right, so I'm just going to offer this up now. I'm going to change how you're seeing it. So you're not going to look at my mug, you're going to look at my helmet when I'm doing it. Right, so I'm going to rest you there. So I'm just going to offer this up. You'll notice that it actually sits on the bottom ledge there of the helmet, like the manufacturer's sort of shape of it. So we'll offer it up, and then you'll also notice where the original sort of location areas were, you know, for the, I don't know what it's called, but where you'd, look at that glare, where the hinges were for the quick release. So we're just going to offer it up, get it central. That looks about right there. And once we've got it central, I'm just going to hold it in place with a bit of tape. So I'll put one on the top first of all. Right, and then I'm going to put one on the bottom. Just check that it's still alright. It's still cool. So we're going to put one on the other side. Now that's holding alright now. Put one on the side. Before I pull it tight, I'm just going to hold the other side so I don't pull it off. piece of tape. Cool. So now we've got that sort of secured into position, right? What I'm going to do, I'm going to go around with my Sharpie. Now, anyone that does ride, you'll know you get this spray for your visors, and you can get it for like car windscreens and stuff. You know, I think you put it in your wipers, rain off or something, or rainies, or I can't remember what it's called. But you spray it on, and what it means is when it does rain, your windows or your visor don't like sort of hold on. It doesn't retain to the water. The water stays in the bead and it runs off straight away. So it keeps your visor nice and clear. And then if it gets too bad, you use the back of your finger and just wipe it off, you know, like a windscreen wiper. Now that, it's like some sort of chemical based thing. It's not like corrosive or nothing, but it stays on the surface. So I had to go over it before and I tried with flash wipes, but the only thing that really is going to remove anything is alcohol. And I don't have any sort of terps or alcohol based stuff. So I had to use aftershave. So my visor stinks of Gucci Pour Homme 2, or whatever it's called. So my workshop smells a bit like I've been out on the tiles or something in my workshop, you know, in my dancing gear. Right, so I'm just going to make sure that's all sitting in place. Right, now this bottom ledge here, we're happy that it's sitting on there, right? I know it's got a little tab there to lift up your visor with your finger. That'll be getting removed, we'll cut that off. What I need to do, I need to follow this curvature around, all the way around, right, drawing it on all the way around, all the way back down the bottom, and then I'll be using my Sharpie pen to dot it up around there. I have got an idea to use tape, right? We might try and use lining tape first, right? See how we get on with it. But it's just, in doing so, I really need the visor to be very solid and not move at all using the tape, because I'll be adjusting it and stuff. I think it's probably going to be easier using the pen. So I'll do like a dashed line all the way around, right? Check that it's actually stuck on there, like the ink's not going to run. And then I'll remove the visor and draw it in nice and neat. Now, it doesn't have to be, I'm going to do it as neat as I can, but it doesn't have to be the best because it's going to have an edging strip put on, right? So you're not ever going to see any sort of irregularities, if you like, you know, imperfections. Likewise, when I'm doing it, I know that the edging that I'll be putting on, once it's fitted, it's going to add 2 mil to the overall sort of dimension of the visor, because it's going to be an extra mil on each side, albeit the visor edging is going to be, at the top of my head, I think it's 4 mil deep, but it's 3 mil wall, and then the base of it's going to be 1 mil, so that's going to add the 1 mil on each side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this bottom edge of the visor, which is touching the helmet, and I'm going to draw me dashed line on where the inside edge of the top edge of the helmet is. Now I know when the edge and strip comes and I put it on, I'm probably going to have to remove it and reduce the size of my visor. But what I don't want to do at this moment, right, is take the visor too small, right, and then I put the edge and strip on, and then I end up with some sort of gaps going around, because that's not going to fly. Right, so I'm going to rest you here so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to lift my helmet up, put on my lap. You'll still see, yeah, you can still see what I'm doing. And I'm just going to go around it with the my Sharpie pen. I'm just doing a dashed line. I'm doing a dashed line as opposed to a like drawing a straight line, because drawing a straight line I could cock it right up. Dashed line, I'm freehanding for the minimum amount of time. And it's important that I'm moving the helmet around. I'm not moving around the object that I'm drawing on in this instance, and ordinarily I would do that, but in this case I'm moving the helmet around because it's smaller and I can have better control over it. Right, so I've done that side there now. This is where it's going to become difficult. I need to be left-handed to do the other way, otherwise I'm going to rub it all out. We'll start at the bottom edge here. Cool. Now I've drew the dotted line all the way around. The next thing for what to do, I'm going to remove this off here, right? In fact, before we do, I'm just going to draw it around solid. Yeah, we'll do that. Join these dots up while it's in place. I can see where some of the sort of chemical residues left on the surface of the visor. It's not wet, you can't feel it, but like if you imagine trying to draw with a non-permanent pen onto a sort of plastic surface, it kind of washes out. As soon as you've literally lift your pen off the surface, it washes out and sort of spreads out. That's what's happening here, and yet it's a Sharpie permanent marker. Fortunately, it's not happening all, like on every one of the dashes. Hopefully it remains on enough of the dashes that I can still make out what it is when I go to cut it. Cool. So I've got that drawn in place now. Happy with that. Next thing we're going to do, shift these out the way, take the visor off me helmet. Carefully, because I don't want to rub any of that sort of guideline off. And just set my helmet away to one side. That leaves us with the visor. Right, now you'll see I've got that line drawn around. The only bit that it hasn't got is there. Obviously I didn't draw anything on the bottom because it was already lined up with the, resting on the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to literally just eyeballing it. I can see the distance between the line and the edge of the thing. I'm going to do that halfway between there, do a little dash, and then halfway between them both again, do it that way so you can see, do a little dash, halfway between that one, do a little dash, and then a little dash there, dash there, dash there, dash there, and then join it up. Right, and then I've got my straight line that, so it finishes that off. What I'm going to do now, point of no going back, as soon as I touch the blades of this, I'm going to hide me sort of disc cutter on here if you like, and then I'm going to cut it. Now it is plexiglass, it's like safety glass, it's not, well it's not proper glass, it's like sort of, what do you call it, like plastic, you know. But what I'm going to use is I'm going to use my diamond cutter, which is 4 glass. It's one of my older ones, because I know that it's probably going to, the stuff will probably melt onto it when it's finished, right? So it's not going to probably be as usable again. But the reason I'm using that as opposed to one of the other ones is I'm hoping, thinking it through, it's thinner, so I'm hoping it won't get as hot when it's going through as the normal disc cutter. I mean, we're only talking fraction, like, you know. We'll see what it's like, see if it works. Whereas the other one, if it gets too hot, it might start melting the edges and look a bit tatty, you know. So we'll see how we get on. Cool. Let's get some kegs on. Gloves. Now the gloves, are they going to stop at a spinning disc cutting through my finger? Nah. but it's going to give me a tiny nanosecond to just stop that extra layer to go through, whereas if it's not there, I won't have that extra nanosecond to think about what's going on. So turn this back on. Cool. Right, point of no return, eh? So I'm going to start on the straighter edges, right? If I start on the edge here and work round, I think as I'm getting up, it'll become quite flimsy. I'll have this extra piece on here. So I'm going to do the middle piece first, right, which is the long straight. Then what I'll do, I'll probably snip them edges off, right, to get rid of it, and then I'll do the curvature bit. So if you bear with us, try and orientate you so you can see what I'm playing at. Right, so I don't know if any of you noticed there when I was doing the video, I actually did touch my finger with the edge of the bloody spinning blade, and it didn't actually cut us. Did put a little hole in my glove, but it didn't cut me. They're not cut-proof gloves, they're just working gloves, you know what I mean? But it's worth definitely putting something like that on when you're using something like a rotary blade or any sort of blade. Right, gobbing off. So you'll see I've took it down, right? I am gutted with this here. it's put a tiny, and it's because I was getting a bit hasty when I was going along. Can I take because the dust? It's put a tiny little crack in there, about 5mm, right? Is that it there? You can see. No, there it is, behind my finger. Just about make it out. So I'm a little bit gutted with that. That's because of my haste. However, if you remember, I did say I would be trimming it down afterwards. So we've got that sort of wiggle room there where we should be all right. What I'm going to do now, I'm just going to offer it up so you can see. Now clearly it does need dressed. It does need its edging on there. I'm just going to offer it up to see how it looks. So I can see it's fitting snug that side. We can actually take it down a little bit more. Right, get it central, get my pen out. Usefully, very useful, we've got them pins in place. So when actually, and because it's a see-through surface, we can actually see where they meet the edge. So I'm just going to get it back. That's over the edge. So bring it round. How would you know it, man? We need to take both edges, dude. What a sod. Right, so what I'm going to do anyway, take this glove off so I can hold the phone. You've given us 20 minutes of your life, so I appreciate that, so thank you. I hope you're interested in this, by the way. But you can see how it'll offer up, right? So that'll sit within that sort of, I'm going to spin you. That'll sit within that sort of channel that was there from the manufacturer, and it'll sit in there nice and snug, right? And also the bits that I've created at the sides. I think that'll look really cool. Obviously, it will effectively be like wearing a set of goggles, almost, because it'll be quick removable. It's not going to flip up, you know. So goggles you can quickly put on, take off. The visor's fixed on there all the time, and this is going to be like one of them. I think it'd be awesome on a really hot day. Maybe if you're not going fast, you want to go a bit slower, you want to put your shades on or something, you can take the visor off completely and just have it open faced, well, with your chin piece. But yeah, so I'm going to bid you farewell for now. I'm going to dress this, get it all nice and neat and matched, like sort of edged pretty. I'm also going to remove that little lift up tab there with my little cutter. But the next time we see each other, I'll be putting the press studs in the back there where it's going to sort of line up, and I'll probably have put press studs, or I'll put press studs on the visor as well, so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, well, until next time, thanks for watching. Remember, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the Moth Creaturae channel so you can stay up to date with our latest projects. This is going on, and also we've got a motorbike build going on, and those videos will be starting to trickle through very soon. Likewise, we're on Instagram, so make sure you follow us on Instagram. We'll put I try to do it daily, but it's less often now. But go back through the old stuff. There's a lot of positive affirmations on there, and then you'll see some of the earlier projects when I was building the workshop, and also like this workshop that I'm sat in here now, which is my wood shop, where I do a lot of sort of carpentry, believe it or not. I've started doing that, but also a bit of upcycling to a very different degree than what a lot of people are doing, you know, not just a splash of paint. And likewise, check out our Facebook. We're on Facebook, which is also home to our online community, where we've got our own community group, the Moth Creaturae community group, and that's a place for people to share their own creative ideas with each other. And it kind of is, it's nice. Creativity was rediscovering creativity was really positive for me. It really helped us when I was going through some dark times in my own life, and so it's pretty underrated how creativity has such a positive effect on your life. So I created this online community group where people could share their own creative ideas with each other in a bid to kind of support each other, you know. No trolling, anyone trolling, there's no place for them on there. It's just positivity. So yeah, and then obviously we've got our actual home website, www.mothcreaturae.com. So if you're interested in buying any of the merchandise, whether it's stuff that I've made, handmade bits and pieces, or if it's our sort of cool t-shirts or our baseball tops, check it out and get on there. Free gift wrapping, free delivery, all using recycled bits and pieces. Very ethical. Okay, well, until next time, take care. Bye-bye.